Good evening, Pittsburgh fans, and welcome to the Pittsburgh Sports Desk. We got a guy filling in for Trace tonight. Our utility man, Mark Maradei. How's it going tonight, Mark?
I'm doing great, fellas. I'm doing great. It's a beautiful Wednesday evening, and I'm basking in it, to be honest with you.
Yeah, me too. I hear you. Ed, how you doing tonight, brother?
I'm very well. It's just an excellent time to be with you too.
Yeah, well, we our team is facing your team this week, and we're gonna get into that. We're gonna scout Washington and see what they're all about. I don't know, tough test I think for the Steelers, but got a lot to talk about tonight, gentlemen. Obviously, the acquisitions from the Steelers, they had to do something. I don't know whether this really pushes them. Pushes the needle. I mean, I don't know. I got some theories on that. Get into some Penguins talk. I don't know. We're a month in, and it's a little bit. I don't know. There's a lot of questions with the Penguins right now. So, but touch on a little bit of the Pirates. I know Triola got the Golden Glove. Yippee, I guess. What do you say on that one? I don't know. Yeah. A guy that really didn't start gets a Golden Glove. Only the Pirates, right? World Series. I want to get your thoughts on the World Series, guys, and how that went down. And then let's talk Pitt. Pretty debilitating loss against SMU. I know the article today in the Trib was Pitt players had a closed-door meeting and feel like it's their turn to punch somebody in the mouth. Well, yeah, they got punched in the mouth pretty good last Saturday night for sure. So, and then, our Riverhounds lost against the Charleston Battery 1-0. Their playoff hopes that was the first round. Their playoffs are done. So, but yeah, so let's get into it, gentlemen. Steelers acquire Mike Williams, which in outside linebacker Preston Smith. This Mike Williams thing, we were hearing about this back, the offseason, March. I remember them saying about, he was on their radar.
Yeah.
I don't know. What do you guys, Mark, let's start with you. What do you think about this? I mean, 6'4", 218 pounds. I mean, yeah, he's a big target. There was a lot of friction with him and Aaron Rodgers. I know Aaron Rodgers called him out. Saying that he ran the wrong route a couple times, and you could tell there was some friction there. I'm just not. I don't think that this moves the needle. I mean, I thought if you go out and get DeAndre Hopkins, yeah. I mean, now you're talking, but I don't know. I mean, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe in the Steelers system, in the Arthur Smith system, maybe it's going to be better for him. I don't know. He's a big target. Now you got some big targets. But go ahead, Mark. What do you think?
Let's think about what they were targeting here. They were targeting a number 2.
Right.
DeAndre Hopkins he still has the capability of being a number 1. He's proven that in Kansas City. So he's not feeling the bill. I think he brings I think Pickens would kind of feel a squeeze if they brought him in, and that might disrupt Pickens. Number 2, Williams is younger. 27, 28 years old.
Yep.
He has a history of being injured a lot, though.
Yeah.
So depending on how the Steelers decide to use him, hopefully he doesn't subject himself to that. Right. I think he was a nice acquisition. I would have liked to have seen it a lot sooner, though. So he has a lot more reps in. Now you pick him up yesterday. He's going to get reps in practice. Over the next couple days. I'm sure they're going to trot him out on Sunday. I think he, though, is going to feel like he has something to prove after what happened with Aaron Rodgers. And Rodgers threw him under the bus. Honestly, Rodgers did. He's probably a good guy to have in the locker room, too. Just another voice coming from another team or 2 other teams, actually. Experience, and hopefully he can give some tips to Pickens on how to play the game 100% the whole way through. Because even though he was always hurt, he still was a good soldier, so to speak. And you want that from a guy that you're bringing in. On the other side of Williams, so what you brought in Preston Smith, right?
Yeah.
I don't think they brought him in for pass rush, fellas. I'm going to be completely honest with you. He's a defensive stalwart. When he was with your Redskins, Ed, he was a good defensive guy against the run, and I think that's what they brought in. He was
still a rush end though.
Huh?
He was still a rush end.
Yeah, but he signed through 2026.
He's got a really ridiculous cap number.
Well, yeah. I know, and I think that's why the Packers unloaded him. I really
he'll be 32 years old on November 17th.
Yeah,
I think they brought him in.
See. I'm sure they're going to try and rework something, but they also have on their radar that, even though they have Cam under contract for a couple of years, Cam's at the tail end. What is he, 35 years old, right?
Yeah.
36 this year,
yeah. 36,
so, I didn't mind either of the acquisitions. I thought they're strategic moves. We'll see what happens.
Williams is 30 years old, and he's had an ACL tear. This is the second ACL tear. He had a tear last year. This isn't the year. If you look at all the historical examples throughout the NFL, it's the second year when they finally get their legs back under him. I mean, I think it adds to – I don't think anything's going to help Pickens. I really don't. I don't think he's an elite receiver. I think he's an okay number 2, and that's not being biased at any way. He's just – you look around the league, there's so many good receivers. He's just not one of them. He's far too inconsistent. He's extremely, extremely immature, hence why he was suspended I don't know how many times at Georgia. I just think that the guy needs – I think they should have gone for DeAndre Hopkins, because then that might have lit a fire under him, because otherwise he's just going to be a goofball.
Well,
if he ever realizes the talent's there, but it's just like the talent was there for Claypool, just like the talent was there for Juju. It's one after the other. They're just picking the wrong type of players to bring into their organization. They're getting these folks where they are because of reasons. They thought he was a steal in the second round in the draft of what it was, the wide receiver draft. They got him in the second round because he was a problem. Claypool's second round because he was a problem. They have to move themselves away from these troubled people and actually look and draft good wide receivers, because it's just going to turn out badly for him. I mean, if they keep Williams, he's got another big number next year. If they keep him on the books, I think next year is going to be his biggest impact because he's going to be fully healthy. You can look, Saquon did the same thing. His first year was terrible. His second year, look at him now. He's 2.5 years post ACL. He's fantastic, right? So I think if they use him next year, it's going to be great. I just think they didn't pull the trigger. They could have had Ayuk. They could have had him in the building. They just had to give him number 1. They did it for Minka.
And they refused to do that.
It's 3 years in a row of the most expensive defense, 3 years in a row of the cheapest offense. That is not a winning formula. It's just not. They have to. And Bill has the best nickname for the new GM. It's Omar Khan job. They made these moves just to say they made these moves, right? Yeah. Preston Smith, it was in the 3-4 when he was in Washington. He's a great rush in, and I think that adds very much quality depth to their defense. It really does. That's the better move than the Williams, because that adds a guy. I mean, he was a he was a double-digit sack guy. I think that's great. I mean, instead of bringing in Herbig, or look who you have now on your second team. You have Herbig and Preston Smith. That's pretty damn good.
Yeah,
first team of Watt and Highsmith. So now you have 4 players that can rush. So I think that was the better move. But Williams, he's a nice receiver, drafted 2017 out of to the Chargers at the time, out of Clemson. He's a quality guy. But I just think next year is his year.
Well, he's going to be able to walk after this year. I think he's on a 1-year, $10 million deal.
Yep.
And Smith even said that. He said it's like, his quote was, "It's like riding your favorite bike again." He's going to be back in that 3-4 scheme, which he really flourished in. Yeah. But I mean, I look at it like this with Smith. He's going to give some addition, I think, behind, some pass rusher addition behind Watt and Highsmith. I mean,
a quality guy. You're bringing a guy who's a double-digit sack guy in the NFL. He's quality. Herbert is young and can take care of Highsmith, but when you need to give Watt a breath, now you got a guy that can play.
Yeah. And Mark, I'm kind of with you. Like I'm kind of torn. I really wanted him to see. I kind of wanted Thielen too. Hopkins would have been nice, but I don't think they would have been able to get that deal done. But I'm kind of with you. I think that would have really caused a lot of issues with Pickens. I mean, we all know
that's a good thing, though.
I get it, but I mean, with somebody like him, that could really create a lot of negativity.
What I say? Too bad, so sad. You would have had a better wide receiver.
Yeah,
you got Ayuk. I would let Pickens walk out the door.
This day and age, how some of these. I mean, it's true. You got to handle them with kid gloves. Some of these guys. I mean, it's just in order to get the production out of them. I think Mike Tomlin overall has done a halfway decent job when it comes to that. But I mean, I don't know. Well, I mean, he hasn't done a fully, a tremendous job, but I mean, in some regards, he has, So
let's not forget Pickens is what, 22, 23 years old.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
I think he's getting up there.
Yeah,
he's 25 now.
Yeah, I'm not sure what he is, but I don't know. That's another thing they could play Williams opposite George Pickens to give Wilson.
Pickens is 20. He'll be 24 in March.
Okay, so I think you give him more targets, and you give Wilson the ability to stretch that field, and so. But I mean, you still got Jefferson, you got Calvin Austin, you got Scotty Miller. I mean, there's still. Roman Wilson. I mean, I don't think is he going to see the field this year? I'm not sure.
No, they put him on long-term IL.
Yeah, so he's done. But yeah, I think maybe when you look at it, maybe Smith was the better acquisition. But at least they did something. I wasn't sure what they were going to do, to be honest with you.
I just don't understand why they waited so long. They knew what they needed. It's not like they didn't know what they needed.
Right. We got Daniel Berry. Always gives us a big long yo. Yo, Daniel. How you doing? Yo, Adrian.
Dr. McCown is checking in as well.
Yeah, Dr. McCown. Facts, Bill. These kids be crazy. Hey, Mark knows all about that. Mark's a teacher.
Yeah, he believes that you're trading one head case for another head case. And I keep telling him to watch the Netflix series Receiver. Because there are receivers now that are quality human beings. Steelers just don't have any of them.
Yeah.
But you look at that Netflix series, it's unbelievable how.
Yeah, I got to
watch that.
I watched it. Good. I couldn't believe how Justin Jefferson, how grounded he is. With his parents living with him. It was unbelievable. His family.
Yeah,
it was cool. I thought it was good. I don't know, but I think, Bill, honestly, they knew exactly what we've been talking about wide receivers since freaking.
Well, they've let so many pass. I mean, they've let so many.
Bill, we've been talking about it since March. Literally since March, we've been talking about it.
Right. I wasn't comfortable with this. No, I wasn't comfortable with this room after the season. I said that. I wasn't comfortable with the wideout room. And, they really didn't. I mean, you had chances to bring guys in here, and you just let it go. They slipped right through your fingers.
We don't know what they wanted, though. What we're seeing and hearing and what they might actually be trying to squeeze out of the Steelers might be two different things. That's the only thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I was all in on Cooper Kupp, but he's also older and has a fat contract hit next year.
Right. And he has injury issues too.
If you look at the design of the Steelers, they can no longer exist the way they do. They just can't exist that way. They're trying to go cheap on offense, and you can't. Even if Russell Wilson balls out the rest of the time, we've been through this over and over on the show. He's going to want a deal. Somebody's going to give him a deal in a quarterback-starved league. And if you believe Russell Wilson to be better than, say, I don't know, Daniel Jones, who makes $43 million a year, you're going to have to pay somebody eventually on offense. You're never going to beat Mahomes. You're just never going to beat him. You're not going to beat Lamar. You're not going to beat Josh Allen. It's just too hard.
They can't exist. Relax. They're 6-2, gents.
Sorry, Mac. They can go sick. They can go all the way, baby. They're just not going to win a Super Bowl the way the team is constructed.
Yeah.
It's just not possible.
So I saw this article in the Trib about this, and I'm not going to say who wrote it, but they said that Williams is a downgrade from Deontay Johnson. Do you guys agree with that?
Yeah, I do. Deontay Johnson was exactly what Russell Wilson wanted, which was Tyler Lockett. Same player.
Yeah.
Tyler Lockett might have better hands, but same exact player.
Yeah. Mark, you on board with that?
I was ready for them to ship Deontay Johnson out. If we're talking sheer talent, yeah, he's probably a downgrade, but he dropped a lot of important balls, ran backwards, and was a pain in the ass in the locker room.
Right.
I mean, this coming from a 6th round pick or whatever the hell he was out of a MAC school. Shut your mouth and play football. You know, like, shut up. Like, I honestly was happy they got rid of him. And they've made the best of the situation. Not that they're going to go over the top with everything they have, but they made the best of the situation. Just keep in mind that, I know Russ Wilson isn't isn't Tom Brady, but Tom Brady didn't really win with a bunch of high profile guys.
Right.
You know, who do you have?
didn't.
Randy Moss,
Right.
really, and Gronkowski. That's his two
Right.
guys.
Edelman,
There's only a handful of those
Woodhead.
players, though, in the league.
Yeah.
There's only one Pat Mahomes. There's only one Brady. There's only one Peyton Manning. They don't have one of those people.
Yeah.
They just don't. I mean, that worked because of who those people are. I mean, Mahomes can get away with the same thing. They're just special people. They don't have a special person at quarterback. That's why they're not going to be able to get away with it.
Fritzy chiming in, still can't get past the first round of playoffs. Fire Tomlin. We knew that was coming.
Yeah.
Still can't get past the first round of the playoffs.
That's true.
Oh, I guess he's on repeat tonight there, Fritzy.
But I mean, honestly,
we didn't get another Fire Tomlin though. What the hell?
They don't have a quarterback right now. They have no future at the quarterback position. It's just not going to. You're not going to win in the NFL without a quarterback. Name me a team other than the exceptions, Billy, and we know the exceptions. The Foles of the world, that's one. Then you have Brad Johnson, that's two.
Well,
you have your buddy in 2000, and then the Redskins had three of ones. Every other quarterback is a named quarterback. Every other quarterback is a name since the Super Bowl began.
I don't know, Ed. I'm not with you on they have a quarter. I think they do have a quarterback now. I think their quarterbacks. It's a better situation now than what it was last year for sure. So
the Steelers don't ask their quarterbacks to win games anymore, though. They're going to get more out of Russ Wilson from that perspective, but basically they're game managers. You know, They've loaded up the run game. They've tried to load up the tight end position. You know, I mean, they need another, like we said, they needed another quality receiver, but they're not going to hang their hat on Wilson taking them to the promised land every game. And if they are, you're absolutely right. I just think that at this point, the Steelers are still in the mindset that we need more of a game manager than we need a quarterback who's going to be dynamic like a Mahomes.
Last game manager was Trent Dilfer in 2000. That was 25 years ago. I don't think you win in the NFL with a game manager this year.
Brad Johnson was a game manager as well. Brad Johnson was a game manager.
Okay, so we'll give you 2 and 25. I don't think you can win in the NFL this day and age with a game manager. You just can't do it. I mean, that's my point. If you don't have a quarterback, and I can't stand that. I hate the way the league is designed. I really do. It forces everybody to hit on a quarterback. And look at. I mean, I have no love for Dallas, being a Washington fan, but they're done forever. I mean, they're done for years.
Right.
You can't have the number. You can't have two of the highest paid people in any position. You can't do it. It doesn't work.
Well, yeah. I mean, but that's the way it is.
Steelers are going to have to pay for a quarterback.
Yeah, I mean, look at Jacksonville putting all that into Trevor Lawrence, and you see the return they're getting on that. I mean, that's insane.
Yeah. Max stuck on the Russell Wilson Hall of Fame shit, which is irrelevant at this point. I don't care if he goes in or not. I'd give him probably 80% chance, second ballot guy.
Yeah, I
mean, I don't see any harm with that. Maybe he gets in the second ballot. It's irrelevant to the current conversation. And Billy, you said it last. Can he drop back 45 times and win him a game?
Well, that's what I said. I said, when you're in the fourth quarter and you're down by 2 touchdowns, can you get away from play action? Can you drop back a bunch of times? Is the line going to hold up for you? Are you going to
have the receivers be able to get open?
Yeah. So
that's more where I'm talking.
Yeah. The criticism with Williams, with Aaron Rodgers, I think is just he called him out running the wrong routes. I think Rodgers is a jerk. I mean, let's face it. And I think he was better going elsewhere. But you look at it. You got Williams 6'4", you got Pickens at 6'3", you got Freiermuth at 6'5", you got Darnell Washington, which they're starting to utilize more, at 6'7". Those are some big targets, gentlemen. Make no mistake about it. So
I mean, it's the size of a D2 basketball team.
And let me ask you, wouldn't you say so far in Russell Wilson's start? I mean, I think he's really efficient in the red zone, and I think the best way to create more space in the red zone is going vertically. Especially inside the 10. And that may be how Williams helps this team. What do you guys think?
I mean, I'm perfectly fine with what he's done thus far. Yeah. I mean, he's doing what they're asking him to do. Yeah. And one of the things he's doing is he's leading by example. He's throwing passes. He's scoring touchdowns that he's going over. He's sitting down. He's talking to Fields. He's looking at what he did, explaining it to Fields. Even if neither one of them are here next year, Russ working with Fields should make Fields a better quarterback. at the end of the day.
Right.
I mean,
You
Fields, you could argue Fields did the exact same thing. He was 4-2. He did exactly what they asked him to do. He won 4 games. Russell's won 2.
He sure did. He managed the game.
Right.
Yeah. So I'm nothing exists in a vacuum, though. You have to factor in who they played. This back half of the schedule is going to be tougher. I don't see them and Kansas City on Christmas Day. I have no idea.
Well, yeah. I mean, that's far away. I mean, that's going to be their first big time defense with the Spagnuolo defense. That's going to be that's going to be a litmus test going against that defense. Can you score points against a defensive mastermind like that? That's going to be a.
But can't we say that about a lot of teams that have 6 or 7 wins currently?
Yeah.
I mean, take a look at what some of the other teams have done and who they played.
Well,
take your Redskins, for example. Who did they beat?
7 teams that aren't very good.
Right.
Yeah,
Exactly.
That's why I say when I talk about the Redskins, I'm not like you guys. I'm actually in reality. The reality is they got lucky, right? The 2 teams they lost to are Baltimore, who's pretty damn good, and Tampa Bay, who's up and down. They're under 5. They're 4-5 now, but they're a pretty good team. But other than that, they really didn't beat anybody. I mean, they beat the teams that the Steelers are going to beat. Big whoopee. Cincy and Cleveland.
I've never said that the Steelers, I mean, they're 6-2, right? I haven't said that. Hey, they should have beat Indy. They should have beat Dallas. I mean, those 2 losses were bad. Those other wins, yeah. I mean, you beat Atlanta week 1 when Cousins wasn't even really gelling at all. He had no, I mean, so yeah, I mean, there were
it's a down league year. I'm not a believer. I don't think they can. You have 3 of the toughest teams in the NFL in your.
Well, I will say
the toughest team in the NFL is Detroit. They're in the NFC, but 3 of the other toughest teams, you don't compare to them. You don't compare to Kansas City at all. Kansas City is so much further.
Well, I agree with that, but I will say this: if you ask me, and we talked about this at the beginning of the season. I was really concerned about this second half in all these division games. I tell you what, looking at the AFC North now, I'm not really that concerned. I mean, obviously Baltimore scares you with King Henry and some of the weapons they have on offense, but their defense is atrocious. Cincinnati the same way, another atrocious defense. Cleveland's a mess. I mean, so we
talked about that earlier, Billy. We said the back half is only on paper because we said we went through all the backup quarterbacks. We predicted what was going to happen. We already did that. We said,
Mark, don't you agree? Mark, you agree with that? I mean, you feel a little bit better about these divisional games going down the stretch, don't you?
Definitely with Cleveland.
Yeah.
I'm still not sold on Cincinnati. I'm still not convinced. That they're all in. Who knows with T. Higgins? We know what we get with Chase. Those things are pretty evident. Baltimore and Pittsburgh always split. They split. 9 times out of 10, they split.
Yeah.
It'll be a knockdown, drag out. I know their offense is firing on all cylinders in Baltimore, but Pittsburgh seems to be in Lamar's head at least one of the 2 games that they play them. If you go back and look at the numbers over the years,
true. Yeah.
I mean, it is what it is. Now, as far as playing Kansas City on Christmas Day, we're saying they're going to take an L. It's probably true, but you don't know who's going to be hurt, who's going to be healthy. I mean, we saw Mahomes go down with an ankle injury. What happens if it's lingering?
Right. That was weird, by the way. I thought that was a hip or something like that.
As far as Philadelphia goes, I mean, I don't know. They're kind of hot and cold. The guy for Philadelphia, like you said, Ed, is Saquon.
Yeah.
You got to shut him down.
Right. We got my old warrant officer from when I was in Iraq, Chief Osmani Hernandez, chiming in, Go Steelers. Hope you're doing well, Chief.
So from the way the conversation's going, you really think they're going to make a deep run in the playoffs?
We didn't get that far with the conversation.
We're already there. We're already there. We've now dismissed the Browns. We've dismissed the Bengals. We split with the Ravens. We've already said there's nobody else. The Eagle can't beat the Eagles. I mean, there's a lot of wins you're racking up there for that team. I don't know.
Cincinnati D is bad but could still score. Yeah, I mean they can still score. I mean we know
score at will, which the Steelers can't. That's my point.
I'm not saying they're going to make a deep run.
Both teams running.
I'm not going to say they're going to make a deep run. I think let's get to December, and I'll be able to tell you whether they can potentially make a deep run. Could they win a playoff game this year? Yeah, I think they could win a playoff game this year, depending on the matchup.
How many seasons has Tomlin coached? This is my favorite.
16 years.
And how many of those seasons has he won a playoff game? Well, it's your stat, Billy. Tell us.
I know. We've said it numerous times. I know that. So
I just think currently constructed, and Dr. Mack and I have talked about this a lot, over and over again. It is a down year in the NFL. There are so many injuries; it's absolutely ridiculous. And by the end, you're right. You could be playing Carson Wentz for Kansas City. You could be playing who the hell's the backup in Baltimore? I don't even know who they have now in Baltimore.
Max says the answer is yes, they can make a run. The league is bad this year.
I just said that, Dr. Mack. He's like an astrologist, maybe. He's reading the tea leaves. He might even be a psychic. He's so good. He was able to diagnose my colon without any hands.
Well, that's a hey.
It's a rare talent.
He had to change his profession. That's why I mean, yeah.
It's a rare talent for him. All right, let's
scout Washington. Let's scout Washington here. So let's go ahead. You shoot me the report. 7-2.
Here's the report on Washington. Right, defense. When the Steelers are on defense, Washington is going to try to get the ball out as quickly as they can. They're going to make sure that 90's doubled at all times, and they're trying to get the ball out as quickly as they can. When Washington's on defense, the Steelers have a golden opportunity to run the ball, especially up the middle. That's where they are their weakest. They lost Jonathan Allen, which I didn't think was a huge deal. That they have Newton and Fidarius Mathis, but that's going to be an area of ease, I think, for the Steelers. They added Marshawn Lattimore, which is good because their corners were weak. So I don't know if they're going to be able to run up and down the field passing wise, but I think they're going to be able to run the ball. And I think Washington's key is going to be if they can run the ball. Brian Robinson's been hurt, on and off the year. If they get him back, he's a thumper, but he's not going to be at 100%. And then you have Eckel, who's in there every time as their slip back, and they also bring in McNichol and a couple others. So if they're able to keep Jaden Daniels and with all these quarterbacks, Jaden Daniels as well as Russell Wilson, if you are disciplined in your rush lanes, and I mean extreme discipline in your rush lanes, where you rush as if you have a string attached to all four of you and you're rushing equally, and you create a pocket, every single quarterback in the NFL has lower stats in the pocket than they do outside of the pocket. And outside could be in a move up, move left, move right, and a throwing on the run with your off-schedule throws. But if you keep both those quarterbacks in an actual pocket, it'll be a low-scoring game. The Redskins are favored. They get the home field goal favorite. But I think, I'm leaning more toward the Steelers only because their defense is better than Washington. So I'm leaning toward the Steelers with victory. But that's your best scouting report. I think that they have the opportunity to run the ball, and that's what I think. Go ahead, Billy.
Yeah. Well, I mean, biggest surprise for me for Washington is just how they've performed. I mean, Jaden Daniels, I think Dan Quinn has really brought kind of almost like a facelift to both sides of the ball. Really, I mean, they're doing well against. I mean, we talk about their offense. Their defense is pretty stout as well. But you have an elite defense with the Steelers, and I could see them slowing down Jaden Daniels.
Yep.
You got it at home. That's an advantage for Washington. But I don't know. I just think that I don't know. It's going to be 6-2 versus 7-2. It's going to kind of be a clash of the Titans. I think but I will say one thing about Washington too. They have a very narrow margin of error when it comes to turnovers. And,
don't they have the lowest in the league?
Yes, they do. And
they have actually the lowest through 9 games in the history of the NFL, I think.
Yeah.
They also have the most yardage per drive
in the history of
this millennium.
Yeah. 42.5 yards a drive.
Yep.
Yeah.
If the Steelers aren't disciplined in their rush lanes, he's going to run all over the place. He just is.
Yeah, they've only turned the ball over 3 times this season.
Yeah.
And like we said, they're leading the NFL in fewest turnovers on offense. I don't know. The Steelers are 1-1 when they lose a turnover battle this season. So I mean, that's something to think about right there. But I don't know, Mark. How do you see it? What do you see it, Mark?
I think the key to it is to The key to it is to go ahead and flush Daniels out of the pocket. I don't think his legs will beat you. Yes, I like the way he runs. I picked him as rookie of the year before the season even started. We did a time capsule show, and that was my prediction. He would be rookie of the year, but he doesn't count on his legs to get things done. He counts on making plays with his legs in terms of throwing it. And I love that about the kid.
Yeah.
I do think that Washington has a little more stout defense than what you're giving them credit for, Ed. I know that they really, like we said, the Steelers haven't played much, but neither have they. And they've capitalized against those teams. And their defense has played well against those teams. At the corner, I know you picked up Lattimore, but he's listed as questionable going into this game with a hamstring. So they may sit him because who you guys have next week? The Eagles?
On Thursday. They're going to start him.
So we'll see. I mean, that could hurt him on Thursday if he re-aggravates that. And they need that Eagles game more than they need the Steelers game.
Or they sit both Robinson and Lattimore and get them ready for the Thursday. You never know. It's different, though. When Washington plays Philadelphia, it's a 2-hour bus ride. It's totally different than any other road trip that you do. Because normally you're getting on a plane or, something. They literally just drive 2 hours. So it's so much different than what it is. They'll drive up on Wednesday afternoon and, but they might do that. You're right. They might sit Lattimore and Robinson because it's a divisional game, They might,
how many game lead? Do they have one game lead or are they?
They're 2-0 in the division. They have a 1-game lead over Philly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
so maybe they do. With Dallas being down, it's going to come down to Washington and Philly for the division.
Yeah, definitely. And the other one's going to be a wild card.
Right.
If
they maintain. I mean, before the season started, I had Washington between 7 and 10 wins, right? So they're 6 right now. And they have 8 games left. I could see them going 3-5. They have a tougher schedule. I could see them going 5-3. They have a tougher schedule coming up. So
that's how I feel about the Steelers, though. I could see them going 3-5, beating Cleveland twice and sneaking another division win, or they could go 5-3.
Yep.
Splitting with the Ravens, losing to Philly and losing to Kansas City.
Yeah. And they never play well in Philly. We know this,
Oh, they'll get their doors blown off in Philly.
Yeah.
They always do.
Yeah.
Philly's so weird. We were talking about this. Mark, what do you make of Jalen Hurts? What do you make of him?
God, man, I don't know.
Turnover machine. That's what I make of him.
Yeah. When he lost his OC quarterback coach over to Indianapolis, it changed him.
Yeah.
And we debated this with my guys on my show. And one of my guys is like an NFL coach, doesn't have much to say with the guy. The guy's already. And I'm like, no, man, it's a huge difference. There are little intricacies that those guys coach you up on that make a difference in your game. Mm-hmm. I don't think he's getting that anymore. It just doesn't look like the same guy the last 2 years. Yeah. And I don't know why they brought Kenny Pickett in to back him up because it's not the same style quarterback. If you want continued play with the quarterback you have, if he goes down, you've got to bring in somebody who's very similar in nature, and Pickett is not that guy. I can see where the Steelers want to do those same things with Russ and with Fields, but I can't see that with the Eagles going from Hurts to
Pickett.
You can see it with the Skins going from Daniels down to Mariota. It makes sense to me. Perfect sense.
Yeah. Yep.
Mac chimes in. Sirianni is a little nuts, but they are playing for him.
Yeah.
And Mark, that's a great point too, because you look what he's done in Indianapolis. He resurrected Gardner Minshew. He's getting stuff out of Joe Flacco. There's just those coaches around the league that have that quarterback whisperer. There's just a bunch of them. You look at McVay. You look at Malik Willis in Green Bay, for the love of God. To get
and you look at it. Philly lost their defensive coordinator too. He went to Arizona. Yeah, he went there.
And it shows.
It shows. Yeah,
it shows. Yeah. That's the one thing about Philly. I don't feel like they're as dominant on both sides of the ball this year, especially as they have been. Now, I don't know if it's because they lost the leadership of Kelsey on the offensive side of the ball.
Oh, yes,
they just don't look as dominant on both sides of the ball as they had.
And on defense, they're lazy. They're lazy and undisciplined.
I mean, can we 3 weeks ago, we were saying Sirianni's on the hot seat. Can we say that now? I mean, I don't know that you can say that now. I think he's done a little bit better. I think given what he's lost his coordinators. I mean, it's
Bill, we're halfway through the season. It's hard to say something like that right now. I mean, yeah, Ed's like, let's talk playoffs now for the Steelers. I can't because I don't know who's going to go down on that team.
Well, yeah,
losing one guy can change the whole dynamic of your entire team and put you into a tailspin like no tomorrow.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I think when you're in December, when you enter the first week of December, I think you pretty much know. I mean, you can't predict injuries, but you pretty much know what you have. I think at least. But
that's why that later bye is so helpful.
Yeah.
Washington plays Philadelphia on that Thursday, and then they have a bye, so they get almost 2.5 weeks off.
Yeah, that could be dangerous, though.
Yeah. Let's do picks. I'm gonna go Steelers 24, Redskins 21. I think they get a last second field goal. So, Edward.
It's gonna. I think I'm leaning more toward the Steelers. I mean, I would see. I could also see. They're up. I don't know. They're up 8 or 9, and the Washington gets a final. I mean, I think the Steelers by 2.
Yeah. Okay, Mark.
I'm going to go Redskins 21. I'm going to call them Redskins, fellas. I just can't. Mm-hmm. I just can't. Redskins 21, Steelers 17.
Yeah. Either Redskins or Commies. That's what that's my.
I'm concerned coming off the bye with Tomlin. Yeah. I'm concerned where they are mentally. The only thing I'll say for Steelers is they're getting Cordarrelle Patterson back. They're getting Zach Frazier back. They're getting Nick Herbig back. They are getting depth pieces back and a starter. And
Cordarrelle Patterson was upgraded at practice as well. Nick Herbig returns, but he's limited. Zach Frazier was back at practice, full participant, expected to play Sunday. So yeah, I mean, hey, it's looking like they're getting some guys back. So that's what happens usually when you have a bye week. I mean, you get some guys back here. So, but all right, let's go real quick to NFL news. Let's just go through some stuff. All right, so
what do we got, Billy?
Browns GM says it's possible Deshaun Watson will play for team again after season-ending injury. You know what? This guy is exactly. This guy is damaged goods, in my opinion. This guy he just can't play anymore. He sat too long. He was out too long. He comes back. Too much going on. Too much controversy, allegations circling again against. It's just too much. This guy just doesn't have it anymore.
I feel like a broken record with him. I don't know how in the hell the owner's wife can sign off on them trading for him. Like, how can she give the seal of approval? I don't think I don't think all those things that he did are. The truth is somewhere in the middle with that guy. And even though it's somewhere in the middle with that guy, I don't see how that guy's wife can sign off on them bringing him in. Okay, that is insane to me. And I don't think he's ever going to play
Don't forget,
again.
Cam Sutton's coming back. I don't know how the Steelers ever signed him back. He's another one who did horrific things to women. Don't know how the guy's still in the NFL.
Yeah.
I really don't. Yep. I don't. Yeah. I mean, I 100% agree with you. For these things, when there's anything against women, it's an automatic strike. There should be a commissioner for a year for all of them. You lose your job for a year. It's an absolute unbelievable privilege to play in the NFL. It's a freaking kid game that you're getting paid millions for. I think all throughout sports it should be a mandatory 1-year ban. Once it's been adjudicated in the court of law, it should be your ban.
You know what I say to that though? I agree with you guys. Totally agree with you with Watson. Questionable individual, but let's not forget Robert Kraft. Nothing really happened to him, right? So
he was just getting a massage, Billy. He didn't know there's other things involved.
Nothing at all.
Right.
No, he didn't know.
Nothing at all. You heard about it initially, and then that was it. It disappeared.
He might have Alzheimer's, Billy. He's an old man.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it wasn't.
No, you're 100% right. I say a year ban regardless.
Yeah. I'm just throwing it out there. You're right. It's a shotgun blast. You take it for what it's worth. But all right. Which one is better? Down one late, kick the extra point, or go for 2? This has been plaguing What's going on with decision making of some of these coaches?
That weather in Kansas City at the point of the kick, I think the kick was harder, don't you? I mean, the weather was atrocious. I think the kick was a harder play. I do. I think the 2 would have been an easier play. I mean, they would have roasted him. If you have the opportunity to take out 15, take him out.
Yeah.
You know, you saw Baker's reaction, which is unbelievable. Did you see that when he?
Yeah. At the end of the day, too. I'm sorry for cutting you off, Ed.
No, go ahead, bud.
Yeah.
I was going to say, at the end of the day, Mahomes was red hot in that game. He really played well. That's
he did.
Probably his best game of the season. I don't want the ball in his hands.
No.
You know?
Well, and I thought, why did they take a timeout, too? Right. I mean, I would have ran that down. I would have ran that down to as much as I could. I would have got another, playoff. They left them with way too much time.
27 is McCown's in there. He doesn't like
AI.
Taking over.
You know what I say about this, guys? You know what I say about this? Yeah, and there's too much of it, and you have some coaches making some really bad decisions. I mean, I look at it like this. I just think that you're seeing a lot of head coaches getting hired these days with just not a lot of resume. Are you guys seeing that too? I mean, when Dave Canales, is a assistant for a year and he gets a head coaching job, when you look at it, Bill Belichick, he was an assistant for 12 years before he ever got a head coaching interview. I just think that there's
the coach in Pittsburgh was a coordinator for a year and terrible defense and got a job.
Yeah. I just think that you hire some of these coaches. McDonald's another one. You hire some of these coaches that really don't have much of a resume. And I mean, I don't know. They make some bad decisions.
They were talking about that on NFL radio. And the fact of the matter is, it takes you back into that recycling of the old trash then. If you don't give these guys opportunities to grow, they're never going to grow. I mean, look who's the new offense coordinator they just got out of the old folks home. North Turner's coming back.
Yeah.
I mean, you have to allow youth to come through.
Yeah.
You just have to.
Yeah. So now it's on the TV ticker what the play should be, what the percentage should be. Yeah.
Mac, that's for betting. It is because you do in-game betting.
Yeah, no, I know. Yeah,
It's sponsored by one of the damn Bet Kings. Whatever.
Jerry Jones.
Are those annoying as hell? Now that the betting, do they bother you, Mark? All those ads with betting?
No, I don't. I am so clueless.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, I don't bet either. It's just it's the constant barrage of those ads.
Well, you know what pisses me off is that Pete Rose didn't get in the Hall of Fame before he died,
100%.
And yet everything is betting on in baseball. You've got sports books in stadiums, and that's a crime in my opinion.
You go to the Capitals game
sponsored by betting.
Yeah,
I mean, you go to the Capitals game, you could bet right there, right in the arena.
Right.
That's insane.
But you didn't put a lifetime ban on the guy, and he died before he ever got to see himself in the Hall of Fame. I could go an hour on that one, but yeah,
I agree.
But yeah. Jerry Jones says Cowboys Dak Prescott likely headed to IR. We pretty much knew this, but I tell you what. If I'm a Cowboys fan, you can't wait until Jerry Jones gives up the reins, and that's all I got to say about that.
Is Steven going to be any better though? Is Steven Jones, his eldest son, is he going to think he's a GM or what? Because that's the problem. I mean, but he hasn't really made any. We talked about it before the season started. There was no reason to pay Dak before the season. No reason at all. Period.
No, I agree. Yeah.
No reason. You could have waited at the end of the season to pay him.
Yeah.
I think you hit the nail on the head earlier, though, Ed. We're paying all these young quarterbacks a lot of money. And one of my guys, Chops, he says this all the time. We pay all these guys all this money. What for? They haven't won. What did Trevor Lawrence win yet?
Nothing. He's a bust. I say he's a bust. I've been saying that for
Jordan Love hasn't won anything.
Jordan Love.
Yeah.
What'd he win?
But and you look at
Kyler Murray. What'd he win?
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Lamar hasn't won a trophy either.
But he's 2-4 in the playoffs.
Yep.
And he won his 2 games last year, right?
Yep.
I mean, where are we at with this?
I don't know.
Here, if CJ Stroud, if he's on these things, and you look in Washington, if Daniels continues on this meteoric career, right, his freaking number is going to start with a 7. You can't do that in the NFL. They have to look to the NBA and do some sort of a Larry Bird rule or something because it's going to be out of control. Dallas will have paid 43% of the cap. If they can't sign Micah Parsons, and they can't not sign Micah Parsons, but they're done if they do. It's 43% of your freaking cap. You can't do it. The NFL is broken.
Right. That's the problem. That's
I don't know. If I'm the Cowboys, I might entertain letting Micah Parsons walk. That's from my perspective, though.
I would trade him for a haul like they got for what's his name from Chicago to LA, right?
Yeah.
Or was it Las Vegas?
Mac.
Yeah. I'd go for a 1 and a 3. Why not? Or go for 2 number 1s. Somebody
listen, at the end of the day, the fans are clamoring about Micah Parsons, so that's a problem. Well, he's more worried about what he's saying on his podcast than he is what he puts out on the field. I'm not a Parsons fan, so
I totally agree.
I'm not either. Yeah.
Plus, he has players on from opposing teams. I don't get that. It's one thing to do it in the offseason, but in season, have players from opposing teams you're going to play.
I think it was Troy Aikman who was saying about that. He goes, I guess I can't believe some of these guys that just are so chummy with the opposition. He's like, in my day, that was never. You never did.
You don't do it in the offseason, but he keeps praising Saquon Barkley. Hey, dude, you're going to friggin' play him twice. Yeah. And it's going to be your responsibility when he comes out of the backfield. Why don't you shut up and heal?
That's his boy, though. They're from the same general area, right?
They 100% are, yeah. But still, I mean, he's on. I would trade Micah. I really would. I would get a haul for him. There's no reason not to. They have so many holes on that team. If they can go into next year's draft with 2 number 1s, 2 2s, 2 3s, I mean, that's rebuilding right there. We've seen it in the NFL. If you have the draft capital, you can rebuild. Just look at what Washington did. They had a good draft. Bam, you're 7 wins. You exceeded your expectations Vegas had for you. So I would trade him. I'm just like you, man.
Yep.
All right. Any other NFL news that I missed? Anything? No.
Not really.
Okay.
No. Right. Tomorrow's Thursday.
Yep. Yeah. We've got who do we got tomorrow? Ravens and Bengals. Yeah. So
is that in Baltimore?
I believe so.
Didn't they already beat them? No, they lost to them. No, they beat them.
No, they beat them.
I'll tell you what, the way Burrow is slinging the rock around, this is going to be a high-scoring game, and whoever has the rock last is going to win.
Yeah.
Imagine if Cincinnati had a defense.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, Lamar's knee is bothering him, right? This is the second week in a row that he's missed practice time because of his knee. It's coming, fellas.
Yeah.
It's coming.
Yeah, I know. He's been banged up. So.
I'm not saying that to curse the kid. I like the kid. I like what he brings to the field. I think he's got pretty good character. I don't hear shit about him doing anything dumb.
No,
but
he's a good guy.
He every time he touches that ball and takes off with it, he subjects himself a little bit more because he's not a big dude, man. At least if Fields runs the ball, he's a stocky guy.
Right.
Lamar's not a big guy.
He lost weight in the offseason. He dropped a little weight in the offseason. And Ed, I was saying that last year. How many times did I say it? He takes way too many hits. Oh no, he's
they're managing him. They're not going. I mean, he is not a guy who needs to practice. I mean, they're going to manage him all year. They're going to give him.
He's like a Steve McNair, right? Steve McNair never practiced. He'd show up on Sunday and win you games. So
he's far better than Steve McNair.
Well, yeah, I'm just saying. I'm just using that as.
I do think when your quarterback sits out a couple of practices a week, though, it hurts with the chemistry with your receivers. You've got to throw balls to those receivers throughout the week to maintain that chemistry that you have, because your game plan changes every week. What you run in terms of routes one week may not be the exact same thing that you're going to sit on and find open against your next opponent.
But they have that ability to have that heavy play action because everybody's so afraid of Derrick Henry. So ordinarily you're 1,000% correct, but those wide receivers he thrown, he's not making tight window throws. They're wide open.
Yeah.
They're wide. I don't understand it. The NFL's a copycat league.
How many times?
Go ahead, Billy.
How many times have you seen go routes by Rashard Bateman that he's hit him and he's been just wide open? Yeah. I mean, I could have made those throws.
I know.
You're absolutely right about Derrick Henry. I'm curious to see how he plays the second part of the season as well, because he's 32, 33 years old now. He's taken a lot of hits already. He has a lot of carries. I don't care how well you train. You get hit every time you touch the ball. Not by one guy, by multiple guys 9 times out of 10. And his body has to be breaking down at some point. Even though he refreshes the thing every year coming into the season, it still breaks down quicker as you go on in your career.
Yeah, we saw that with they were a lot alike. Steven Jackson, we saw that with him. Same type of runner, up kind of a big tall guy, 6'3", a lot of weight, kind of an up stand up runner. Same thing happened with him. He just it was too much for him at the end there. So yeah, I mean, second half of the season, you might see the Derrick Henry slow down, and he's on my fantasy team. So I don't know. So don't slow down too much there, big guy.
Keep running, baby.
But, yeah. So. All right, let's switch gears, guys. Penguins. Month into the season. Another bad loss last night. I mean, you can't protect a lead. I don't know. It's
they're old, Billy. That's all.
Yeah, I'm worried right now if they're, kind of hitting the wall at this point. What are they going to be at, like, mid-February?
A month from now.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, you lead 3-1 in the third period. Last night I'm watching this game and I'm like, okay, they got a 3-1 lead going into the third. But I had to remind myself of what team I'm watching. And I'm like, this is not a sure thing. And sure enough, Islanders got right back in it, tied it up. Went into overtime, couldn't get it done in overtime, and then went into a shootout. Another shootout loss. I don't know. There's a lot of goaltending issues. I mean, I think Nedeljkovic has been, he's been better. I think he's been pretty good for them. We know what happened with Jari. You send him down to Wilkes-Barre. He's claiming he's finding his game. I don't know. We'll see about that.
What are his?
He's winning in Wilkes-Barre. He's playing AHL talent.
Right. He said he's gonna. He said he's finding his game. We'll see what that. I mean, but I kind of like what Sullivan did pairing Crosby and Malkin together, and I know that a lot of people kind of somewhat criticize that. Saying, well, now there's an imbalance. In the lines, but I think when you look at it, no matter how you put the lines together, guys, they just don't have enough good players to achieve balance. So I don't know that this necessarily throws the balance off. I think if anything, just leave it together until they stop scoring. You got to do something here. I mean, it's working right now, somewhat having Crosby and Malkin on the same line. I know Rickard Rakell's game has gotten better. I don't know. Let's say you guys, Mark. Let's go with you. What are you seeing in this Penguins? I mean,
it's time to move on from Sully.
I agree with that.
It's that simple.
I agree.
It's that simple. I'm sorry to, be the bearer of bad news, but the first thing that needs to change is the head coach. He's been around too long, and in the NHL, he's a grandfather compared to most guys. It's time to move on from him. Change the system up that meets the players that you have on the ice. He still struggles with doing that. Crosby found his game again a little bit. Malkin has not played bad. The Carlson trade is going to haunt them to the bitter end because he is an enigma, and he's been for going on 2 years now. You got to find a way to move him. They may have to eat some contract. They may have to just take draft picks back, but you got to get him off of that team. He's not helping that team. Everybody's all excited Brian Rust is coming back. So what?
Right.
So what?
Doesn't do anything.
It doesn't move the needle for me. It didn't move the needle for me last year. I even said he's always hurt. Somebody want to debate it with me, and I'm like, you go debate it all you want. Go look at his injury history. He's hurt every season. He sits out at least 4, 5, 6 weeks every season, and you don't need that. You need some durable guys. I don't know. I think the younger guys like Drew O'Connor and some of those younger guys that are playing for them, I think they're more of the guy you need to be building around. They've got some kids playing down at Wilkes-Barre Scranton that are going to help them, but not until they move some money around, bring in some veterans that still have shelf life, because I don't think they have guys with shelf life anymore.
Right.
No.
Doesn't matter who's coaching an elderly roster, and who you're getting. If you do fire Sully, and who you're getting.
Did you know who Sully was before they hired him?
Nope.
Is that something you knew? Did you know who Cowher was before they hired him? Did you know who Tomlin was? It happens all the time. Guys get fired, and there's somebody else out there who's been paying their dues and deserves a shot, and that's what you do. You give that guy a shot.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, that's probably, no offense to you, Brian, but that's probably the worst reason to not fire somebody. Ask me who's going to replace Sully. That's a ridiculous comment. There's somebody out there who's hungry to come in and coach a group.
Yeah. I just think he's coaching them to be speed, and they don't have the speed. I said it a couple shows ago. I said, you know, I hate to say this, you know, if I offend anybody, I'm sorry, but fat kids don't run the 100-meter, right?
They do not.
They usually go
and
they do the, yeah. So, I mean, I'm just saying, you know, it's, you know, maybe that's a crude analogy. I don't know. Be mad at me. I don't care. But he's coaching them to be speed, and they just don't have it. They don't have speed. I mean,
hit it with that comment he just put up there, because that's 100% true.
Yeah. And he was coaching 20. Yeah, right.
And that's on him, Brian.
Yeah.
That's on him. He's unwilling to make changes.
Yeah.
He's just not willing to make the changes that they need to play a different system that's conducive to the players they have.
Yeah.
He's trying to fit a round peg into a square hole.
All right. Yeah.
The general managers exist for that reason, and they refuse to do anything. It's an insane organization. It needs to be turned upside down on its head. And they just won't do it.
FSG taking over was a bad move. I said it before. And you know, it's come to fruition. You know, I really think they don't want to break up the core because they're afraid of how the fan base is going to react. They're afraid of how I don't know. They're afraid they could lose money, you know, by that. I don't know. I mean,
Bill, they don't sell out anymore anyway.
Yeah,
that streak got broken last year or the year before. I can't remember what it was. They don't sell out. They haven't been to the playoffs in 2 years. Yeah, they fight to the bitter end, but they play like this early in the season when they should be racking up points.
I agree. You know what the indictment on that was, Mark? When Fleury came back, I watched that game, and I tell you what, there was a lot of empty seats there. Even with him coming back, I couldn't believe it. I thought it would be a full house. And Brian Mack works down there, and he said that there's some empty seats down there. It's I don't know. They've got issues, and like
the Ryan Graves contract.
Yeah,
how do you get rid of him? That needs to come off the books. Now, somebody put up a stat the other day that I saw, and when he's with his pairing, it was Grzelcyk or whatever the hell his name was. You know, people were giving him shit, but
Grizzlick,
Grizzlick. I'm sorry. Yeah. When Graves is playing, I'm holding my breath when he's on the ice.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened to him going from New Jersey, where he did play well, to playing in Pittsburgh. But again, it's the system. Right. Maybe what they're asking him to do, he can't do.
Yeah. And, we talk about Carlson. Is it hard to believe that he was once good? I mean,
well, he's good somewhere else. Sullivan, the whole thing needs to be blown up. We know this.
Yeah.
The whole world knows it except for the Penguins.
Yeah. Agreed.
I think they do know it, but I agree with you. Whoever said it, I think it was Bill. It's all about the dollar.
Right.
It's all about the money dollar.
That's
and
how
FSG,
I feel.
They're not gonna get rid of Sully because
he's a Boston guy.
He's a Boston guy.
Right.
I mean, it's just they're in a spiral.
They're handcuffed.
Yeah. So what will we be looking forward to after the Steelers season ends? It's not going to be baseball, even though pitchers and catchers will be coming to camp soon. It's not going to be hockey because they'll be well out of it.
Right.
Damn. Hopefully Pitt basketball.
Great transition, Mark. Pitt basketball.
Yeah.
There it is.
Pitt basketball starting. How about that? How about Radford? Thumping Radford. What did they beat him? 96-56, I think. Little sisters of the poor. I mean, Radford. Come on. But,
Billy, what is Radford's mascot? Do you know the answer to that?
No, I don't. What is it?
They're the Highlanders.
The Highlanders. That's right. I did.
That was a great movie back in the 80s.
Yeah, it was.
Loved it.
So speaking of that, they got Murray State Friday. Should be a great game.
Yeah.
Gardner Webb after that on Monday on Veterans Day. And then, boys, next Friday, not this coming Friday, but the following Friday, they got West Virginia.
Where at?
Hosting West Virginia.
Wow.
At the Pete.
I'll be in Pittsburgh that weekend. I'm going to pick Clemson on Saturday, Penn Sharks Saturday night, Steelers Ravens Sunday.
Not as well.
You got to go West. Pitt and West Virginia on the hardwood on Friday, man.
I wish I could, but I'm going with a bunch of buddies. Well, I'm going with my son, my nephew and his son, and one of my best friends growing up. And my nephew's son plays for Seneca Valley down here in Maryland, and he'll probably have a playoff football game. So, we won't be able to get up there to do that. Damn, that would have been fun.
Yeah. Would have been the ultimate weekend. 4 games.
Yeah.
Weekend. Good Lord.
All right. I know we're running a little bit late here. Nothing really to talk about with the World Series, right? I mean, I pretty much thought the Dodgers was going to win it. So
$700 million for Soto, so that's going to be interesting.
Yeah. So
he's going to end up with the Dodgers too.
Yeah.
Honest to God.
Yeah.
Come on, MLB. Seriously, come up with some sort of clause. Make it up if you have to.
It's too late, Ed.
Yeah.
It's too late.
And
you're going to lose me. You're going to lose me if he signs with the Dodgers for some astronomical amount and they backload it. I'm done.
Yeah.
I'm done.
I
would completely lose interest in Major League Baseball again.
Yeah.
And the Pirates, Jared Triola gets the Golden Glove. A guy you really didn't start much, but a utility guy gets the Golden Glove. So, yeah,
that's crazy.
Good thing he got that because he batted under 200 most of the season.
Yeah. I mean, in Major League, you hit like shit.
Yeah, that's him.
Yeah, that's him. But all right, let's go to Pitt football, guys. Pretty bad loss against SMU. What did you guys think about that? I just was.
They weren't ready.
That's what I thought.
Yep.
MLB is a joke. Yep.
100%, Mac.
Yep.
100%.
I agree, Mac. Yep.
Yeah, they weren't ready. That's a hallmark of a Narduzzi team. Come on, dude. And here's the thing: had they played them in Pittsburgh, it would have been a different story. They're playing very well at home. He just doesn't have them ready. I don't know if he goes in there. He paints all the walls pink and they meditate before the game or something. I don't know, because they're terrible, Billy. I mean, look what happened in Cincinnati. Luckily, they came back, but he doesn't have – his team's never ready on the road.
Yeah.
I don't get it.
SMU looked a hell of a lot faster than him for starters.
You know what the big thing that stuck out to me, guys, is the tackling. I mean, how about that first play? Lifts a guy up, puts him back down, and he runs down the – I couldn't believe that. And then there was another – there was a tight end. He did a wheel route. He caught a pass, and he hit him and literally, I mean, just would not tackle him to the ground. Yet another guy who ran right past him and went out of bounds, and he just runs down for, I think it was 28 yards. It was just the tackling was terrible, and Narduzzi alluded to that. He was like, "We did not tackle good at all." He's like, "We were."
But you have to have a team ready, though, Bill. Seriously,
they
have to be ready to run through the wall for you, and he doesn't have that in him. The man produces a ton of NFL pro players. It's ridiculous the amount of pro players that Pitt spits out, but he doesn't have them ready on the road. They should have been, spitting chiclets, foaming at the mouth, and they weren't.
What do you guys think?
I was going to say it's far and few between playing a team like SMU, but that's just a different caliber of player. SMU's getting the hand-me-downs from SEC. Pitt ain't getting the hand-me-downs from the SEC. They're not getting the hand-me-downs. They're getting some Big Ten guys, maybe, but SMU's getting those hand-me-downs from the SEC, in my opinion.
Yeah,
and those guys are still good.
You're right. Yeah. Pitt's collecting the MAC. They're collecting MAC players.
Yeah,
Mumford's a MAC, but they got the quarterback from Alabama, so I don't expect him to be in Pitt next year because somebody's going to give him $3-4 million. But they got that's their best SEC acquisition.
He doesn't look good though. He didn't look good against SMU.
Yeah,
in fact, I think he was the biggest problem.
Right. I know.
Again,
I was just
the game plan.
going to. Yeah, I was just going to say that, guys. I was going to pose the question to you guys. It has, when I look at it, when I step back and look at it, Eli Holstein's performance has fallen off in the midst of conference play. I got to be honest. It's since conference play, his performance has fallen off. What do you guys think? I mean, obviously you agree with me. He's not. He hasn't been looking good. He hasn't finished the last 2 games. He got injured, and then they wanted to protect him Saturday in a blowout loss. But
something I noticed about him, his drops.
Yeah.
His drops from the line of scrimmage. He's almost sitting in the pocket instantly.
Yeah.
He's not he's a big kid. What is he? 6'4", 6'5"?
Yeah.
Take your drops, use your whole leg, get back 5 steps, 7 steps, whatever you need to do. I don't feel like he's giving himself enough positioning, creating enough time for himself as well. He can run the ball. If he's back deeper and they have to push the pocket past him because he's back deeper, then he can take off with the ball a little bit easier because there's running lanes.
Right.
I blame a lot of this on him, though. Where he's sitting, those are, for him, it's a 3-step drop, passing lanes and stuff like that for him, not going down the field, not running dig routes or post corners or anything.
Right. No, I agree with that. I said that too. I thought, man, he's not dropping back much. He's kind of, it's like a 3-step drop. That's about it. Maybe 2.5. But I don't know. I mean, what do you guys look at? I mean, is a record of 9-3, is that going to, I don't know. Narduzzi said he's not going to be satisfied with that, but I mean, it would be the complete opposite of what you had last year, 3-9. But what realistically, what do we think they're going to finish here?
I think they're going to be, I would say a little bit better than that.
I'd say 10-2.
Yeah.
I could see 10-2.
I could see 10-2 as well.
And I'm not saying they're going to lose to Clemson, fellas. I'm not going to say that.
Yeah.
I mean, I know Klubnik is a pretty good quarterback, but if he schemes it up like he did against Syracuse, McCord was a good quarterback. There could be a lot of confusion that goes on in that game
and they got him at home.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. I'm not saying they're going to lose to Clemson. I don't know who they're going to lose to. It's not going to be Virginia this week either because they're going to be pissed off. It's going to be one of those final games against somebody that they shouldn't lose to.
Well, they're at Louisville and at Boston College. I think they handle Boston College. I think
that's going to be Louisville.
Right Louisville.
Right there it is. It'll be Louisville.
Yeah, I could see Louisville them losing.
Louisville will run them right out of the gym. Honest to God, they're fast too.
Yeah. They are, but I honestly, if he has the correct, the offensive game plan was terrible, absolutely terrible. Play to your strengths. You have 2 very good running backs. Control the clock. Be patient. Take your spots here and there because you're at an away game. They look disorganized.
Did you see how they kept running draw plays with Reed? And I mean, he was just getting stopped, and it was 4-yard loss. They kept doing it. I'm like, why are you doing this?
He weighs 140 pounds.
I'm like, why are you
5'3", 140?
Yeah, you've been doing this the whole first half, and it hasn't worked. You've had tackle for loss. Why are you? Did you not make adjustments at halftime? Why are you doing this in the second half?
Well, he excels on the edge. How about student body left, student body right? Give me an end around. Give me something. Give me a jets. Give me something with the speed you have on offense. It just was a terrible game plan.
How about you scheme up Bartholomew to get some catches?
The dude's a great tight end. You're exactly right.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Anything. Bubble screens. End around. Anything. Yeah. I mean, it was very vanilla. It was a very vanilla offensive game plan.
Give me something.
The left tackle alive every play.
Well, who was in? I forget. Was it the?
He played guard last year. This is his second year, first year starting.
Was he the one that got hurt the previous game?
No.
No. Yeah. I don't think
because they had a left tackle go down. I can't remember his name. Damn
yeah. I'm drawing a blank.
Yeah, I am too.
I'll tell you in a second. Put it up.
Still positioned at number 18. So I mean, I don't know. But we'll see. I mean, they started the season 5-0 against Power 4 conference teams: Cincinnati, West Virginia, North Carolina, California, Syracuse. So, I mean, I'm saying 10-2. I think I'm with you guys on 10-2. I think that's a very safe bet. I don't know. 9-3. I don't think they're going to be 9-3. I think I'm looking more at 10-2. So, but
It works for me.
yep.
This game this week will tell you the tell. I'll tell you that right now.
Yeah,
They should roll Virginia.
I was gonna say they should thump Virginia. It shouldn't be a contest, but
Especially since he's so much better at that this year. In games of expected wins, they've really dominated those games.
Real quick before we close it out, what do you guys think about Penn State losing again to Ohio State?
I mean, come on, how much longer does he have a job there? Same thing. I mean, who needed to win more, Day or Franklin?
Franklin.
Yeah, and he didn't get it again.
Yeah.
He has 7 years left on that contract.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they have so much money.
Yeah.
It's not a
They're
big
boosters,
thing.
Yeah, sure. I've never been a Franklin fan. I'm just, everybody yells at me because I'm from Pittsburgh or from Pennsylvania, and I don't root for Penn State. And I'm like, it's not that I don't root for Penn State. I don't root for Franklin.
Yeah.
And anything he's got his signature on. I didn't like what he did to Maryland. I didn't like when he went to Vanderbilt, what he did. And I just can't get behind the guy. I just can't. I'm sorry. Even though we have the same haircut, I just can't get behind it.
Same barber.
It just doesn't. I can't. And my buddies get mad at me, and I'm like, go ahead, get mad at me. I don't care.
Yeah.
And they'll start talking shit on Narduzzi, and all right, whatever. It doesn't matter. But he's not a snake like Franklin is.
Narduzzi's a great guy. I mean, I've heard so many good stories about it. Like you meet Narduzzi, and he'll ask you questions about your family and things like that, and then you'll run into him again 6 months down the road, and he remembers things.
And Franklin doesn't, because I've seen him at clinics when I was coaching football. I probably met him half dozen times. And can you forget that face right there? Not everybody looks like me. And he's just a douche, Yeah. And now on the other side of that, like you said about Narduzzi, he recruited 2 kids from my high school a few years back. Mm-hmm. And he came in. They came and got me to come up and meet him. I went up and met him, talked to him for 15 minutes. In fact, it was the week after Michigan State upset PSU, and Saban who was the coach here at the time? Help me out, fellas.
Oh no, what's his name?
Well, whoever the guy was at Michigan State at the time, he and Narduzzi were tight, and he said, "You got to hear this." He pulls out his cell phone, and he lets me hear the voice message that the guy from guy from Michigan State left Narduzzi, because Narduzzi called him, said, "Hey, congratulations, big win." He called him back. He said, "You got to hear it." I mean, this is the kind of guy he was. I mean, I like that kind of coach.
Yeah, he's everything I've heard about him is good guy. So, but wasn't Mel Tucker, was it?
No,
it was before Mel Tucker.
It was before Mel Tucker. Okay.
D'Antonio, yep.
D'Antonio.
Yep. That's exactly who it was.
Mark D'Antonio. Mark D'Antonio. Yep.
That was his boy.
That was
because
right
they coached together.
Yeah, he was before Mel Tucker. He was the coach right before Mel Tucker, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. So, but yeah, I know our co-host tomorrow night, John, was very happy because he's an Ohio State fan. So. But I mean, it's just another can't win the big one against Ohio State. Pretty
at home.
At home.
106,000 people.
Yeah, I tell you what, Lee Corso, he's a great guy. I don't know sometimes if he knows where the hell he's at, but man, he put that Ohio State mascot. I don't know whether you guys saw that. He put that on, and man, he was getting booed, but he doesn't care. But
not at all.
All right, real quick to close it out, gentlemen. Riverhounds, squeaked in the playoffs and didn't get it done, losing against Charleston Battery 1-0. Couldn't even get a goal in that game. Really,
I watched the game, Billy. They played him. They played him very tough, and it's a hell of a thing for Lilly to get him in there. That's an accomplishment. Yeah. Even though they lost, that's a proud accomplishment to get him there.
Well, in all year, they were drawing and they were losing by like 1 goal, and but they had a lot of goal. They had some goal droughts. Let's face it, they had some goal droughts, and in soccer that happens from time to time. But it happened way more than what it should this year. And I know they played hard, but they weren't able to get it done. I watched that game as well. I went back and watched that game, but. yeah, I mean, the game season's over. I don't know. Next year we'll see what they got. But all right, gentlemen, I think that about does it. We ran a little over tonight, but hey, it's we enjoy it. So, but thanks everybody for tuning in. Did I miss anything, guys? Anything we want to last minute?
Nope, I think you hit it all, buddy.
Well, Mark, thanks for joining us. Hey, Mark, tell everybody where they can find you and tell everybody about your shows here. We'll give you a plug here.
Hey, we're the Original Sports Podcast with Mark Maradei and the Barbershop crew. You can see right underneath my name at OSP with MM or Original Sports Podcast. You can find us on any social media. We release our show every Thursday at 7 a.m., whether it's on YouTube or audio. We also do our show live on Tuesday nights, and you can watch us on Roku if you have Roku. So we're on the NESSP station there, and National Streaming Sports is what it actually is called. Every Tuesday night at 7 o'clock. So we usually have a guest on about once every 2 weeks. We shoot the shit about, just like you guys, all sports, but we don't hone in on the Pittsburgh sports as much as people think we do. We try to dance around it, but most of my guys are guys that are from the Pittsburgh area. So check us out. I guarantee you'll love the show.
Yep. I watched the show, big fan of it. And Mark, thanks for filling in for Tracy.
Absolutely, 100%.
Yeah, like I said, you're our guy, our first pick when we're down a guy. We like to bring you in. For those of you who don't know, me and Mark grew up in the same area. He was across the river from Kiski, and I was from Apollo. So we're from the same stomping ground. So, but yeah. So, thanks a lot, Mark, for joining us.
Anytime.
We hope to have you back. So, but
appreciate it. Good seeing you, Ed.
Yeah.
You too, brother. Thanks, man.
But, all right, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. We'll be back next week, and thanks, everybody. Have a good week.